Hi, so this is a quick just going over how to set up the week 4 workshop assignment. It's a little bit different than the previous week, so just to get started, I'm just going to follow the instructions. For this workshop assignment, we're basically going to be connecting to this database from MoMA, the Museum of Modern Arts. We're going to be writing some SQL statements to do some data analysis on some of the artists and artworks from this museum and their database. So what's a little bit different about this is that we're going to be writing SQL queries, but we're also going to be visualizing them. We're going to be creating graphs based off these queries that we're going to work on. And to do that, we're going to do it a little bit differently. So I'm just going to go along with instructions. You can follow along with me. This is a little off the cuff, a little informal, but hopefully you'll be able to follow along. Pause the video when you need. So first up, I'm going to read the assignment instructions. Let's see, we have setup. Step 1, okay, download the starter notebook code below. This is the file that you will modify for your assignment. So this is going to be a little bit like, or actually a lot like the exercises from week 4. So I'm going to go right click this, right click, and then I'm going to save link as, and I actually already have this file, but I'm going to go to desktop. I want to find my to_SQL folder. So I'm going to save it in the to_SQL folder. If I want to go in there, I want to go to week 4. I'm going to click week 4, and then I'm going to just name this MoMAViz. That will be the name of the file. And your to_SQL folder may be somewhere else, but mine just happens to be in my desktop. So wherever your to_SQL folder is, you want to go into to_SQL, then week 4, and then you can go save this file just so we have it. So that's not it. There's one more thing. We also need to download this SQL file, and this SQL file is not a notebook like this. This is just a condensed version of the database that we're going to be working on. So I'm going to go right click this. I'm going to click save link as, and it already opened up in the week 4, but you want to make sure that we're also saving this in the week 4 folder in our to_SQL class folder. So in week 4. And I'm going to go save this. And good. Looks like they're saved. Now let's see. The next thing that we need to do, upload the momaviz.ipynb notebook file to Google Colab. So there's a little video showing how you do this. It's 10 seconds, but you can just follow me along. So let's see. I have to go to colab.research.google.com. So I can type in colab.google.com, or if we want to make it easy, we can just right click this and then open link in new tab. So everything is going to be on the browser. This is not, in Docker containers or on our computer, but inside Google Colab. So I've obviously done this before, so we're just going to keep going along with instructions. So now we need to upload our Python notebook to Google Colab. So you can see, I've done uploaded this a bunch of times throughout teaching the course, but obviously this is probably your first time doing the assignment, so you're going to need to go click upload and then browse. And then we want to go to our to_SQL folder, in our week 4 folder in the to_SQL folder where we saved this MoMAViz file. So we're going to want to click that, open, and then upload that right there. It's going to take a few seconds, but once it gets uploaded, you'll see that now we have this notebook that we can do our work in. So I'm just going to go back to the instructions, and it looks like, let's see, we need to do one more thing. We also need to upload our database to the notebook as well. So I'm going to go click in this left corner right here. I'm going to go click this folder, and it'll take a few seconds to load. Mine just loaded. And I have the notebook, but I also need to upload our database as well. So I'm going to go, after I click this notebook right here, or I guess a folder, and after that I want to go click this upload file button right here. This is how we're going to upload the database. So I'm going to click upload, And then I want to click MoMA Viz, but the SQL file. We just want to upload the database. We already have our notebook uploaded. We don't want MoMA Viz. We want MoMA without the underscore viz. So it should say SQL file or .SQL, depending on what kind of computer you use. But I'm going to click on this MoMA Viz SQL file, and I'm going to open to upload that. And then it's going to give us a little warning just saying, hey, this notebook isn't running on your local computer. This is just running inside your web browser on the Google server, so you're all good. But just make sure they're just letting you know it's all running on the cloud remotely, not your local computer. But that's fine because we already have the files, so it's all good with that. So let's see, the next thing we need to do, we need to go run the environment setup. So like I said before, this is all running on just a Google server, so there's a few setup steps that we have to run. They're pretty easy to do. We just have to go to each block right here and press the play button. The directions will tell you basically what these commands are doing. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna click play right there. That's how we run things. And it's just going to go update our notebook. It's going to go install PostgreSQL, and then it's going to start PostgreSQL. So you can kind of think of this like the command line, but it's already filled in, and it's for the Google Colab notebook. So that will take, probably 20 seconds or so to run. You'll see while things are running, it has this little wheel around it right here. And once it's done, it'll click that check mark. So I was pretty close, 29 seconds. So that will probably be the longest one. Now the next things we have to do, we just have to go set up our database. So first, we're going to run this right here. We should already know what this command does from week 2, drop database if exists MoMA. So MoMA is the name of the database that we're working on, Museum of Modern Art, MoMA. Just going to drop the database if it exists before, just to clean up. And then we need to go create our MoMA database. And again, we're just running some SQL right here using the PSQL command line. And good. So that took 1 second. The next thing what we have to do, run the following cell to add data from momaviz.sql to the MoMA database. So again, we should be familiar with this. We're just doing what we did with the week 2 portfolio project. We have our momaviz.sql file right here that we uploaded. If you haven't done that, make sure to go back in the video and go upload that, because you'll need that right here. We're just taking this database dump of the MoMA database, and we are uploading it to our MoMA database on this cloud right here in our notebook. I'm going to go press play. So we can see it created a bunch of tables, added some data, and now we have a database to work with. Just a few more things. One more thing we have to do, just set up a password for the database. And we click that, and then good. So now we have a few Python code blocks to run. So we can run command line stuff in the notebook, but just following along, we're also going to be running Python, and we're also going to be injecting SQL inside that Python. So let's look at this code right here. So I'm going to go run this just to run the code. So we're importing a few libraries, so pandas, numpy, and matplotlib. We should know these from the week 4 workshop with the lecture, and psychopg2. We should have a bunch of experience with that by now, with being able to connect to a database using Python to inject SQL and run SQL using Python. So just these 3 lines of code right here, this line of code, we are just connecting to the database. So we create a connection, and we call that connection con. I'd assume short for connection. And then we want to make sure that the session is auto-committing. Anything that we send to the database gets saved. So we just set that right there. And then we set up a cursor so we can actually go and run some SQL using this Python. So if that didn't make any sense, that's fine, because all we need to do is just run this block, but you can obviously go back, but this should be familiar. Okay, next thing that we have to do, we have to run this block of code right here. What this block of code is doing, it is allowing us, or this function will allow us to take the results of a SQL, well, actually, it says it right here. Take the result set of a SQL query and then save it as a Pandas data frame. Again, we should be familiar with that from week 4 with Pandas. All right, next thing that we got to do, tasks. Well, actually, that's all the setup. So you're all set up. You're good to do the assignment. We'll just go ahead with task 1. Task 1 is super easy. It may look a little bit intimidating, but I'm sure it's fine. So this is just kind of showing what we're going to be doing for the whole assignment. So there's 4 tasks in the assignment. The first task is kind of an example, so not too bad. So let's see what we want to do. So I kind of skipped a lot over kind of like the instructions, but again, what we're going to be doing is we have this Museum of Modern Art database. They want us to do some data analytics, answer some questions about the data in their database about artists and their artworks. So we obviously can do that using SQL. We can write SQL queries to get, we can write these select series to get data from the table and analyze them. But we also want to visualize them too. So what we're going to do is we have our Python right here. We are going to go inject some SQL into Python, run this SQL query, but that's not all. We also want to, or actually we'll do this right now. We'll run the SQL query. It's already given to us. We're just going to get the count for each department. So basically how many works of arts are in each department. From the MoMA works table, we're going to order by department, then make sure that's ordered descending. So we have our result right here. And of course, we have a little line. We go and we basically pretty print this out. But you know, that's not it. We want to have a nice graph because this isn't enough. So we can do that by using Pandas, and we can do that by using Matplotlib. That is, we take the SQL query right here. I'm going to go copy this right here, Control C. So we're going to take that query and we're going to put this right here. I'm going to paste this, Control V. I want this to be a little bit in there just so it looks nice. You don't have to do that. And so now we have our query. So what we can do is we can take that SQL query, and then with this one line of code, we run that SQL command, and then we use SQL to data frame, this function that we defined right here, and we can store the results of that query in a data frame right here. And then once we have that data frame, all of these lines of codes, we're just visualizing and creating a graph of the results of that query. So right here, we can see what our query kind of, or the results look like without a graph. But now when we basically copy this right here, we paste this into here, we go run that, and it take a second, and look at that, we have a nice graph. So basically what we're going to be doing for the rest of the task 2, 3, and 4, it looks intimidating, but this isn't anything you haven't already done. We're just writing some SQL queries right here. This question is going to ask you to visualize and write a query to display the artworks by classification. There is, it's just SQL query. So I think you should be fine. Obviously, if you have any questions, don't feel free to ask your instructor or me. Always available. But I think with the past few weeks, you definitely have what you need to do to complete this. Okay,